Hello students, welcome to RBI Grade B online learning platform. Today we are going to discuss how to prepare economics and social issues, what should be the shows. I will tell you for all those students who are preparing their self and those who are our subscriber. So I will tell you how to study, what topics you have to focus, which ministries are important for this, which reports are important, and static part what you have to study. Everything we will discuss in the detail in this video. And if you have any specific query regarding ESI, I will address all the queries regarding economics and social issue today, so you can comment. Good evening Sonam, good evening. Hello Prashant, Karan, good evening. Saurav, good evening. Yes Saurav, we will start the live classes from 20th onwards, I said earlier, but it will take 2-3 more days. We are implementing, means we are upgrading the app, so most probably today or by tomorrow latest the app will be upgraded, so new version of app will be available. After that we will do live classes only in the app. Currently for few days it is going live in YouTube, so I have notified all the subscribers also earlier. For few days we will do live classes in YouTube only. After that we will divert completely to the app on website. Yes, live classes we have started from very basic, like economic social issue basic from RBI history we have started, financial system, Indian financial system basics we have started. Yes, we will make a group of Telegram. Once live classes will be started in app and website, once we will completely divert it towards app and website live classes session, then we will make a group for discussion of our paid subscribers. Yes, everything we will discuss, so let's start. First I will show you schemes which were asked in last 5 years. You can see that these are the schemes which have been asked in the last 5 years. So you can see in 2027, and the weightage also mentioned, the scheme weightage in the paper in 22 62%. Only 50 marks paper was there, 50 marks. In 21 also 50 marks. This is 17, 18, 19. 17, 18, 19. 100 mark paper was there. So 28 to 30, 28% to 34%, 30% were asked from the scheme section. Means out of 100 marks paper was there at that time. Total 100 mark paper was there. So 28% means 28 marks, 34 marks in 2018, 2019, 30 marks weightage was there. Since 2021 when descriptive was introduced, so you can see that weightage of more than 40%, means 44 percent, 22 marks, and in 22 you can see that out of 50, 62% means 31 marks were covered only from the schemes. So if you have prepared very well schemes, if you have prepared very well, you can score a good marks in ESI objective. And report and some current affair from PIB, if you have prepared very well, means if any students who appeared in 2022, if he or she has prepared the schemes, and selective schemes are being asked in the exam, you can see that the pattern MGNREGA, IGMSI Matrithav means Indira Gandhi Matrithav Sewa Yojana, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, Sampurna Gramin Rozgar, Urban Mission, Startup India, Maternity Benefit, adolescent schemes are relevant to the syllabus only. The social issues topics are there, so you can see same the next year goal program, Skill India, National Apprenticeship Program, Jal Shakti Abhiyan, PM Kisan, Amrut Mojali, Operation Green, One Nation One Ration Card, Star, Swamitav Scheme, Garib Kalyan Yojana, PM Swanidhi. So you can see that some specific ministries are being targeted. In 22 also One Nation One Ration Card, Smile Scheme from Ministry of Social Justice, Adarsh Gram Yojana from Social Justice, this Stand Up, this is Stand Up India, प्रधानमंत्री वया वंदना योजना, सोन गोल्ड बॉन्ड, प्रधानमंत्री किसान मानधन योजना, ई विद्या, सहकार मित्रा, प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना. These schemes were targeted, means questions were asked. So there are few ministries which are targeted again and again. You can see that MGNREGA from Ministry of Rural Development, and flagship schemes are being asked. So you can see that schemes related to the female, Matritva Sahayog Yojana, scheme for adolescent girl. Other important ministries, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Social Justice, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Finance. These are the ministries which are targeted every year. Specifically Ministry of Social Justice, if you will see that in this year was not asked, but I think one scheme was there, not mentioned there, but it was every year they are asking from this grant in aid for NGO was asked from the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Nirmaya scheme from Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. This year, last year it was not asked from Ministry of Social Justice. Again, Smile scheme is from Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Adarsh Gram Yojana is from Social Justice and Empowerment. So I will tell you that which ministry is most important. Next these are the reports and topics which are targeted. First go through these topics, and these 4-5 last year's papers are available. Memory based papers are available on our website. Yes, there are 8 to 9 ministries from there. Questions are being asked repeatedly. So these are the other topic excluding schemes, like any news is related to the GDP reports were asked since last 3-4 years. Continuously they were asking the GDP report, like in 17 they asked 3-4 question on OECD GDP report. In 2018 GDP and GNI of NSO, National Statistical Office, that our GDP figures are being released. From that report 3-4 questions were directly, figures were even figures of that report were asked in this year. UNCTAD 2019 GDP report. Again 2021 OECD GDP report, there were 4 questions directly on the OECD GDP projection of world GDP projection including India. So this year they did not ask GDP report, but every year they are asking GDP report. So GDP projections are very important. If anyone is preparing himself or herself, so first thing is you have to analyze the previous year question paper, what type of question they are asking, so you can easily frame what topics are important. You can sort out the list of the important topics what they are targeting. First thing is GDP reports. You will see that Human Development Index, Ease of Doing Business, Economic Survey GDP projections, World Investment Report, Gender Inequality Index, Index of Industrial Production, Sustainable Development Goals, Socio-Economic Caste Census, RBI GDP, NSO, RBI related questions, GDP, NSO, FRBM, ADB, Asian Development Bank related question, Niti Aayog related report. So you can see that flagship reports are being targeted in RBI phase 2. Flagship not any means any unknown report they will ask. There is hardly they will ask. If the report is related to the India's social issue, you can see that in 2019, I think 19 or 18, one question they asked from the report of CRI. In I think 17 or 18 they asked. That was related to the India's water issue. So water problem related, clean water, drinking water problem related, a report was there. So important facts were there. So a question was asked on that report. So blindly they will not ask. Blindly they will not ask. Blindly they will not ask from any report. Any report. You can see that the flagship reports are being targeted. Again next year you see GDP and GNI of NSO, World Economic Outlook of IMF, Business Reform Action Plan. This is the government report. Budget related question, SDI again, fixed, this is fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, FRBM, Sustainable Development Goal, RBI related question, GDP, NSO, inflation, WTO related question, RCP, Regional Comprehensive Economic and RBI Circular, FD, World Economic Fiscal Deficit, World Economic Outlook, Multidimensional Poverty Index, World Economic Forum related question, UNCTAD related question, School Education Quality Index, OECD related question, Healthy State Progressive India report by Niti Aayog, SDG report by Niti Aayog they asked, GVA related question, DPIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Socio-Economic Caste Census, and RBI related question they have targeted. You can see that maximum topics are repeatedly being asked in the RBI exam. So some students used to say that pattern is becoming difficult. No, pattern is not becoming difficult. There is hardly any change. Some time 4 to 5 question मान लो, 8 to 10 question, marks maybe they can ask from any topic. So this year we have seen the Tricentennial dialogue. It was a geopolitical issue and they asked, but as we are studying this was geopolitical economy related topic. So any relevance is there related to the economy part, then the topic becomes important. So it was also the government, Indian government was involved. So such topics become important. Again next year you can see that SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, RBI Circular, Budget, Economic Survey, GDP, TRIPS, WTO related question was asked. So you can see that pattern of the questions are similar. So even you will do selective study, you will not target every current affair. Some students start studying everything, whatever they are getting from bulky PDF 300-400 pages, then you will not get benefit for phase 2 if you are, because only 50 marks paper was there, you have to cram a lot of data, because schemes itself there are 60-70 schemes, more than even 60-70 schemes, you will not be able to cram everything. So it is difficult. And this year you will see that Human Capital Index report was old, but once again I earlier also told that whatever flagship report is being released by the world institution, even it is old, last version of that report is important. You can see my previous videos of the last year. In every video I was saying that flagship report of the world institutions like IMF, World Bank, OECD, UNCTAD, UN, UNESCO, UNICEF, WTO, the reports are very important. If any last version of the report is available, you have to study that. I gave an example also at that time as HDI, Human Development Index, Ease of Doing Business Index. So you have to study those reports. So I will tell you the list of the reports also. So this is our syllabus. So I will tell you the what things you have to study from the static part, what things you have to study from the current part, and everything we will discuss in the detail. So first thing is measurement of growth, national income and per capita income. What questions can be asked from here? Yes, we will discuss in detail. So from this, what static, and we have seen that static is very, it means hardly any question of static they will ask in the paper. Still you have to prepare, because there is possibility any year they can change the pattern, means they can ask the question from static more and current affair less. So it is possibility. We cannot believe on a single pattern, because we have seen there are always some changes in the paper. This year we have seen the geopolitical question was asked on the Raisina dialogue. So basic definition like GDP, so you can see that you have to study the basic definition like what is GDP, what is GNP, NDP, net domestic product, net national product, GDP at constant price, GDP at market price. These are the very basic things you have to study from this chapter, and various method to calculate the GDP, and like the product or value added method, expenditure method, income method, what are the formula, what is GDP deflator, National Statistical Commission you have to study. You have to study about NSO, what is NSO, under which ministry, who release India GDP figures, means India's officially GDP projections are being released by the National Statistical Office under the Ministry of Static Program Implementation. So you have to study, and what is the base year of GDP at constant price, as we are studying. Many times we study GDP at constant price, so a base year is there against which GDP is being calculated. So you must know these basic things. And GDP projection by the world institutions, you have to study GDP projection by NSO. These figures, gross national product, gross national income, NSO report is very important, and you don't have to study the old report, latest report you have to study just before the exam, whatever is the latest report. So it is easily available on the PIB also, and those students who are our subscriber, they don't have to refer any other source. We will provide you everything. Those who are preparing themselves, so you can get this GDP figures, GDP report from PIB website either, or from National this Ministry of Static Program Implementation website, it is there. So these things you have to cover from this chapter. And again, this GDP projection by international institution like World Bank, IMF, OECD. This we will again maybe covering in international institution. Next topic is there, means one topic of this ESI syllabus is there. OECD, Asian Development Bank, IMF, UN. So these are the major agencies, or UN CTAD sometime release, UN separately release. So next is poverty elevation and employment generation in India. In the static part, what you have to study, so poverty related definitions, various definition, unemployment definition, poverty estimation committees, different committees are there. So you must know about those committees. Sometimes they can ask the direct question in descriptive also. Descriptive they can ask that whatever the major difference between the Rangarajan committee and Tendulkar committee. And in India, as we know that poverty estimation committee that was accepted, means poverty line is decided based on the Tendulkar committee. That is much important. So Tendulkar committee figures you must know because they can ask in the static portion, even in the descriptive they can ask the difference between the committees. They can ask the question in this from this chapter on descriptive part, like what are the various steps taken by the central government to eradicate the poverty and unemployment. So we can refer here the various schemes, measures taken by the government, so we can mention that. So accordingly you can see that what type of question can be framed from this topic. Similarly, from the national income and per capita, what are the various methods of calculating income. They can ask in the descriptive, what are the various methods of calculation of income. So they can ask the, what are how you will measure the growth, any 3 method to measure. They can ask anything. So you have to frame the question accordingly. You can prepare a standard question like poverty alleviation. What are the various steps taken by the government to eradicate poverty? So you can prepare a standard question like what is the current situation in India about the poverty? What is the current status? What is the various programs initiated by government? From the history you can take some old programs you can refer. Then current programs, one of the major scheme is the NABARD. Unemployment, you can see that skill development ministry schemes you can refer, various employment program government is running. So for this objective part and schemes part, Ministry of Rural Development, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and some other schemes of Ministry of Labor and Employment, Ministry of Labor and Employment is important. Under this topic you have to study at least the flagship scheme of these ministry, like a Ministry of Rural Development if you are studying. So what are the flagship scheme of this ministry? Can anyone tell me what are the flagship scheme of this ministry? Maruna Mai, is it necessary to read PIB? If you have subscribed any course, then no need to prepare yourself. You will get in your course. If your platform is providing you, then you don't have to study yourself. Prashant, from which month we should have to prepare for scheme and report indices? Actually, there is no fixed month, because sometimes they have asked the schemes from the old months, means previous years even. So there is no fixed month. Schemes there are some specific ministry, those schemes you have to study, means currently active schemes you have to study. Schemes are not means you don't have to study schemes as per months. मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है कि स्कीम्स का मंथ से कोई लेना देना है नहीं. स्कीम्स पुराने भी पूछी गई हैं और स्कीम्स करंट से भी पूछी गई हैं. मतलब किसी न्यूज़ में है कोई करंट मंथ में, तो वो भी पूछी गई हैं, और जो पुरानी है 1-2 साल पुरानी, 3-4 साल पुरानी, तो वो भी पूछी गई हैं. तो स्कीम्स जो करंटली एक्टिव स्कीम्स है वो तो आपको एटलीस्ट पढ़नी ही है. ओके, क्वेश्चन मैं आपके एंड में लूँगा. ये एक बार हम डिस्कस कर लेते हैं क्या क्या टॉपिक आप पढ़ सकते हैं. सो फ्रॉम दिस पोवर्टी एलिवेशन एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन इन इंडिया, these topics you have to study. And anyone telling me the flagship schemes under Ministry of Rural Development? So you can see that Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, NAREGA, National Rural Livelihood Mission, Urban Mission, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, these are the flagship scheme. Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, these are the flagship schemes you have to study. And old schemes specifically, they do not ask from other ministries, but from Ministry of Rural Development old schemes are also important. Ministry of Rural Development and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, from these two ministries old schemes are also important, because Swarn Jayanti Gramin Swarojgar Yojana, it was asked, I think 18 or 19, 18 it was asked. The scheme is from 99, but why they have asked? because in Ministry of Rural Development many schemes they are restructured, so you should study the history of those schemes. So specifically from Ministry of Rural Development and Ministry of Housing Urban Affairs, I will suggest you to study the history of those schemes also. Suppose you are studying the MG Narega. Suppose you are studying MG Narega. So you have to study the history of MG Narega. That is very important. I mean, descriptive question they can ask on MG Narega. What was the schemes earlier before MG Narega, and how much they were effective, means what they were implemented in India's means were these schemes able to provide the work. They can frame any type of question in descriptive also. So MG Narega is much important, and I mean for descriptive part also. So like food for work program was there before MG Narega. So you will see that there were many schemes, means there are many schemes in this Ministry of Rural Development which are restructured. So you should know the history. And when you will see the National Rural Livelihood Mission, one of the most important scheme of the, every year they are asking question. This year they do not ask, but every year you will find the question in NABARD paper also, is RBI ESI paper also. National Rural Livelihood Mission, most important scheme. So you should know that history of the National Rural Livelihood Mission, what was earlier schemes, how they were merged. Some basic things you have to study for those old schemes. You don't have to cover holistically, only the current schemes you have to study, everything important. नेक्स्ट आता है सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट एंड environmental issues. So it's very important topic for descriptive part also. So you should study about the renewable energy, conference of parties, what are the environmental issues, climate change effect. So these things you must know, and you can prepare a standard question for descriptive part. So you can cover the what is sustainable development, what are sustainable development goals. So directly they can ask the question on descriptive. Climate change, very important. I mean in English, I think this year in NABARD they ask a question on climate change. So this is very important for descriptive part. I mean in English descriptive, every year they are asking in different exam question on the renewable energy and climate change. I think last year, this year in RBI also Sun 1 grade related some question they ask. So any topic is in current, that is also becomes important under this chapter. So specifically what you have to study about UNDP, SDG you have to study. SDG, what are different SDG, sustainable development goal, any report is there, so you have to study that report also. And Paris Agreement, International Solar Alliance, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change Initiative, if anything it is in news, so you have to study that one. This is important. National Action Plan on Climate Change, National Adaptation Fund, you have to study about this, because this objective is 50 marks, but sometimes they can ask the question, so 1 or 2 marks, and every single marks matter. So you can, at least you should have basic idea, you should have basic concept, what is National Adaptation Fund on Climate Change, what is NGT, National Green Tribunal, what is National Action Plan on Climate Change. Previously they have asked the question. So UN Climate Change Conference, you have to study any latest climate change conference has been held, like currently COP27 is going on. So you must know about the you have to study about the COP27, what will be the outcome. So they can ask in the descriptive as well and the objective as well, and you must know where COP28 will be held. So single mark question they can ask, or even 2 mark question if the paragraph based question. If paragraph based question will be asked on COP. Suppose they are asking question on COP 27. So a paragraph will be given, you have to guess what they are referring. So if they will ask the question on COP 27, definitely they will ask the question where COP 28 will be at. So such things, such small things you have to take care while preparation, because every single marks matter. So SDG you have to study carefully. These are important for descriptive and objective also. SDG index by Niti Aayog is very important. Even it has been, I think in last year it was released, so it is very important. Even it is old, but it is very important. Once I think 2019 they asked the 1 year old SDG report, and this year we have seen that human capital index by World Bank, it was 2 year old report, because after that human capital index was not asked, but they have asked question based on that report. I'm telling you in so much detail, no one will tell you what you have to study. Anyone who is preparing themselves even from our course, so you have to take care of these things. Am I audible clearly and you are getting my points? No, old schemes outlay, you don't have to remember the outlay of the old schemes. You don't, only the schemes, I will tell you that only from the old schemes specifically, year of launch, and the scheme is restructured to new scheme. So what is the new scheme and what were the main objective of that schemes? You don't have to study in details. Basic idea you have to learn. Basic things, basic points, means what was the main objective of that scheme. So you have to suppose before the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Indira Awas Yojana was there. So year of launch and what was the main objective of that scheme, and some important points. Suppose currently they are providing some X amount under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So there were chances that they were maybe providing very less amount under Indira Awas Yojana. So you have to read that data also, but not in detail, but it will be only that data, Indira Awas Yojana, what amount they were providing, what was the eligibility. So basic difference. Don't read in details of other schemes as well, only basic of old schemes. And current schemes you have to study every important point, as we have seen that they are asking in much detail for the current schemes. So you can see from this topic, economic history of India, changes in industrial and labor policy, monetary and fiscal policy since reform 1991. So very much important topic for the RBI descriptive paper. Even in NABARD also, last year they asked about the economic reforms since 1991. This year in NABARD they asked about the economics reform in India after 1991. So you have to prepare accordingly what reforms they have done after 1991. So these are the major important topics. Like sustainable development is very important topic for descriptive purpose. And this one also, last year they asked in the RBI, this year they asked in the NABARD ESI paper. One more important is from finance, global financial crisis, impact of global financial crisis. So what you have to study about the planning commission, various planning commission, from when they were started. Some important facts are there about every planning commission, so you can study those. And when if you don't want to study, don't want to give more time, you can skip, but few like Mahalanobis Gadgil formula plan, which one was called Mahalanobis plan, so you have to study about that plan. Like this year I have seen phase 1 current affair, phase 1. So they asked about the time period of first and 12th 5-year plan. First 5-year plan time period they asked, 12th 5-year plan they asked in the phase 1 itself. So those preparing seriously for this exam, you have to complete your content in phase 2 study syllabus before phase 1 also, because it will give you benefit. At least 10 to 15 marks static questions will be asked. More than 15 you can, because 10 question approximately you will find from the schemes. So 20 to 25 questions from your phase 2 preparation will be asked in the phase 1 GA itself. You have to study about the Niti Aayog in detail, when it was formed, starting of the Niti Aayog, who is the CEO of Niti Aayog, who is the head of Niti Aayog. There are who is Niti Aayog's CEO is there, I think vice president is there. So you have to read about those. So those and Niti Aayog initiatives, various initiative like aspirational district program is there, delta ranking is there, delta ranking of district aspirational districts in Atal innovation program is there. So some initiatives are there by Niti Aayog, those are very important, you have to study. Next comes to the Niti Aayog reports. If any report is released by Niti Aayog, that is important in last 1 year itself, at least 1 year reports of Niti Aayog are important. So you have to study the reports by Niti Aayog of 1 year, in last 1 year, and specifically this SDG report, even last version of this report by Niti Aayog, SDG report is being released by Niti Aayog. So last version, whenever it is released before the exam, that is important. Next come to the industrial policy 1991. So you can read the history, even they can ask in the descriptive changes in our industrial policies since 1991 they can ask. So basic history of at that time, what was the industrial policy in 1991, there were reforms and some policy was implemented. So you have to study. And developments on industry 4.0, if any development is there, because new industrial policy will be there, but date is not yet fixed, but when it will be out, but it will be industry 4.0. So question was asked in 19 or 21 I think on this industry 4.0. The Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade related current affairs are very important. Any news is related there to this department, that is very important, and any report is there, so that is important. Highlights of new labor codes is very important, they can ask in the descriptive. EPFO, ESIC and Ministry of Labor and Employment, again the schemes of Ministry of Labor and Employment, any portal they have launched related to the labor and workers, so that is important. And EPFO means this provident fund is applicable for there is a definition for this provident fund PF, that up to this salary and up to how many workers should be there in a factory or in a workspace to implement EPF or ESIC, there is definition. So those definitions are very important, those basic things you have to study. Even if you will see, I have mentioned there, and during the NABARD preparation also I told you what you have to study from these topics, and you will see in morning shift a question was asked on the PF eligibility, and in evening shift they ask about the ESI eligibility. So we have done a lot of analysis, what things you have to study, everything written here is very important, and you can see the direct question, whatever I am telling you, no one will tell you in so much detail, because we have done a lot of research, lot of analysis. Next comes to the fiscal policy and monetary policy. These we will study in the finance part also, but many times they have asked a question on monetary policy in ESI itself, RBI monetary policy and current what are this formation of the monetary policy, what is the structure of the monetary policy, what are the targets of the monetary policy. So you have to study every important point is there. If you will see this year phase 1, in this year phase 1 they asked one question about the monetary policy report. Detailed monetary policies report is being released within how many days of the MPC. So after MPC, monetary policy committee meet, this report is being released I think in 2 weeks, 14 days. After 14 days they used to publish a detailed report. So in so much depth question was asked in the phase 1 itself. So this is again important topic, monetary policy. You have to read the section under which section of the RBI Act this monetary policy is defined. You have to read the who are the members of the, they can ask question, because IBPS we cannot believe what question they can ask. So you must know the members of the MPC, for how many years they can be appointed, are they, means whether they can be reappointed or not, who appoint those members, any committee, one there these 3 members are nominated by state central government. So government appoints a committee, that committee select these MPC members. So you have to read about that committee also, who is the chairman of that committee. So everything you have to study in the detail, so much detail, then you will be able to get good marks in this ESI paper. So if you are studying our content, everything you will get there. Fiscal policy means you have to study about the fiscal policy, specifically budget, what is fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, primary deficit. So these things, what are the capital receipt, revenue receipt, what are the different components under the, even if you will study the budget, from there you will get all the points about fiscal policy. What are the revenue receipt, you can see in the budget document of central government of India. You will find there different component given, even if you will stick to those also, then you can cover the fiscal policy from there itself. Those who are preparing from our content, you will get in your course. These economic survey and union budget specifically, the speech of the finance minister is very important. So are you finding it useful for your preparation? All those who are watching, please comment, are you finding it useful? Are you getting my points, what I am saying? I will take all the question. I will take all the question in the end. First, whatever I am telling you, no one will tell you. So and you have to study. Everyone who has cleared, they have studied like this only, because everything is important. Whatever I am telling you, you have to study accordingly. If so, I am telling you like I am a student and I have to get good marks. So I have done a lot of analysis. So based on that, we are able to provide these things. And when you can see this year NABARD phase 1, there were direct question. I gave a list of 100 to 125 question. 15 to 16 question were exact similar question. So how did we provide those question? Because we have done a lot of analysis. What type of question they can ask? So we do a lot of research analysis, and then we provide the content. Then we provide what things you should study and why you should study. So that is the reason. Budget related question they can ask. It is not necessary everywhere they will ask, but many times in phase 2 itself, phase 1 also. Budget speech is specifically important, and the budget speech, and every year they release the fiscal deficit, revenue deficit target in fiscal deficit of the last year they will tell, revenue deficit of the last year they will tell, and the target of next year they will tell. So that is very important. I mean, in phase 1 they can ask, in the phase 2 itself. Budget highlights is very important in phase 2. This year if you will see that they ask the question, many question, I think this year or last year they asked many questions from the budget. So budget is very important. And economic survey highlights you can study. Economic survey is highlights are important. If you will start studying the complete document, then it will not be possible. So I will not suggest to study the economic survey complete document, but highlights is enough. If someone has time, then he or she can study. Otherwise, this year we will provide the detailed highlights of complete economic survey document, but you don't have to study the old economic survey and budget, because most probably exam will be held only after the budget and the economic survey will, at the time economic survey and budget both documents will be released. So you have to study the economic survey and budget of the next year. Static concept you can study of the budget, like what is fiscal deficit, what is revenue deficit, what is primary deficit, what is capital receipt, what is revenue receipt, capital expenditure, what are the components under revenue expenditure. So these things you can study till the time. Next again, Indian money and financial market, bank, Reserve Bank of India development, these are the finance related topic. So RBI monetary policy, RBI function you can study, and money market like commercial paper, here you can commercial paper, certificate of deposit, T-bills, and these repo rate, repo operations by RBI. You can read all the things, those you will be studying in the money market of finance also. One minute. Next is public finance, political economy, national development in India, Indian agriculture service sector in India. So under these things you have to study. Finance Commission highlights, 15 Finance Commission that you have to study. GST, about GST you have to study. I mean in descriptive they can ask, if it is not mentioned in the syllabus, if some students have in mind that GST, if it is not mentioned in the syllabus, that then they will not ask. They can ask anything. IBPS we cannot believe, means अगर GST सिलेबस में नहीं मेंशन है तो इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक है, बिकॉज इकोनॉमी फाइनेंस का ये बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक है. दे कैन आस्क. सो बेसिक थिंग्स ऑफ दिस बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट यू मस्ट नो. डायरेक्ट टैक्स के बारे में पढ़ना है आपको. स्पेसिफिकली डायरेक्ट टैक्स में एटीसी के अंदर में क्या क्या आता है, व्हाट डज एटीसी कवर इन डायरेक्ट टैक्स सेक्शन, एंड व्हाट एफआरबीएम highlights important. Fiscal policy again, farmers loan waiver issue you can study, because in descriptive they can ask. GDP growth of manufacturing sector we study in this economic growth and national income related chapter, there we study about this. And under this we can study about the agriculture, service sector, manufacturing sector, GDP contribution, and how these sectors have grown since 1991. So we can study for descriptive since 1991, specifically 1991, how these sector have contributed to Indian economy since 1991. How, like manufacturing sector, industry sector, agriculture sector. So service sector, you may be aware that service sector has the highest contribution in Indian economy currently. So these are very important for the descriptive part. In objective they can ask what is the current, means last year, as per the, generally they ask as per economic survey, what is the share of agriculture sector in any economy, or service sector share they can ask. And for descriptive you have to study the history, so you can get easily, you can find many article on the Google. If you will Google it, you can find many articles, so accordingly you can prepare your questions. Also index of industrial production, that is being released by NSO, that you have to study the latest, what are the components of IIP, what is the latest this IIP index of, what is the latest index. So you have to any data figures of like GDP, IIP, CPI, consumer price index, wholesale price index, if any such data you are cramming, then do the latest one before the exam. Don't study old one. Old one they are not going to ask, because the latest during the exam, suppose exam phase 1 exam is on December 30th, suppose. So before that, at least 10 to 15 days before that, any data is, such data is released. So you have to cram that data, not last month or old one. They are not going only in the case of export figures, export the complete financial year they used to ask, or quarterly or half yearly export import figures, or the last month. These things you have to take care in the export import data. GST figures also, complete 1 year GST figure they can ask, for the last quarter GST figure, or last month GST figures they can ask. So accordingly you have to prepare. Don't cram the data of every month. Next is opening of Indian economy, balance of payment, export import policy. So LPG reforms you have to study, very important topic for the descriptive part. LPG reforms is a very important topic for descriptive part. Export import policy, currently that earlier export import policy was valid, was published till for 15 to 20, I think 16 to 20 for 5 years, but they have extended till 22, I think. So hopefully very soon they will release the new export import policy. If they will release it before RBI exam, then definitely you will see the question in the phase 2 from export import policy, because it's very important. If new export import policy they will release, then you have to study that one. You have to cram that policy highlights. Definitely you will find question in the exam. Export import data, annual means last financial year export import data, means highest export to the which country, highest import from which country, highest fiscal deficit with which country, total trade figures, export figures, import figures, and FDI data, highest FDI from which country we have received, in which sector we have received, like mostly we used to receive in computer and software, I think, and from Mauritius or Singapore we used to get highest FDI. So such things you have to cram, such small things you have to cram, and these are the questions which are being asked. BOP concept you have to study, balance of payment. So international economic institution, IMF, World Bank, Regional Economic Cooperation, international economic issues. So specifically you have to study about the history of these institutions, like headquarter, who is the head of the institution, when this institution was formed, GDP and other reports specific focus to India are very important from these organizations. Reports of UNESCO, UNICEF, UN, World Economic Forum, some reports are being released. In the report list I will share with you. If any report related to any focus on India, it is there, and then that report becomes very important for the exam. And GDP projection from these institutions, I have earlier told that, like World Economic Outlook report, Global Economic Prospectus, Asian Development Outlook, Economic Outlook by OECD, UNCTAD, Indian GDP figures. So these are the very important from these organizations. RECP in 2021 they asked, as India refused to join RECP, so they asked about descriptive question also. So they can ask the descriptive, what is the role of the international economic institution in the world growth, economical growth or trade growth, anything they can ask. So accordingly you can prepare the question on descriptive. They ask question on the world investment report, these GDP report by these organizations, about WTO report, TRIPS, WTO related question they were asked. So trade development report by WTO, they can ask the question on that report I will show you in a separate list. Next is multiculturalism, demographic trend, urbanization, migration. So mainly migration related current data, if any migration related is any report is there, world migration report or India's any migration related data is there. Census 2011 and socio-economic caste census, specifically socio-economic caste census is very important for this. Every year we have seen in the past question from the socio-economic caste census, so these are very important. And some basic concept about multiculturalism, demographic trends, they can ask in the descriptive part how multiculturalism affect the growth of a country, or how demographic trends is benefiting India. So I have asked in the previous also, so how urbanization, migration is impacting the India's economy. So they can ask the question. So descriptive questions, you can find the question in the many articles you can find in Google. Just Google it, and many UPSC website used to provide the articles on this. You can prepare a standard question accordingly. Whatever question is being asked, you have to frame the answer accordingly. Next is gender issues, schemes. Mainly schemes are very important from this section, and what are the different gender issues specifically to the woman and child, what are the different issues. So you have to prepare. I mean, for this descriptive it is important, and they can ask, if they will ask in the objective, then schemes and any report is there related to the women and children, that is very important. We have seen in the NABARD last year a scheme was there by the UNICEF, and they asked the question from that report. So any report on the health or any report on the education or any report related to the woman and child is very important. And in descriptive part I have told you that about the issues of the women and of the children you have to prepare, what government is doing, and conclusion means what should be the way. You can prepare a standard question if in exam any question is being asked from this topic, so you can answer easily. Gender inequality index means reports, they ask the question. Social justice, positive discrimination in favor of underprivileged, SC/ST minorities, OBC related issues. So this year we have seen that they ask the question on underprivileged. So make a question, prepare a standard question, what are the issues related to the underprivileged section in our country, what government is doing, and what should be the way government should do. If you want to suggest your own words, you can write those in that question and frame those in a complete question, and that can benefit you in writing during the exam, because we have seen that the direct question was asked from the topic like positive discrimination related to underprivileged, they asked this year. And the schemes of these SC/ST minorities are very important. They are asking every year. Only 1 year they did not ask from this Ministry of Social Justice cover these schemes of SC/ST minorities. Ministry of Minority Affairs is there. OBC also covered under Ministry of Social Justice. So flagship schemes, and sometimes they have not asked the flagship schemes also. So most of the schemes of this ministry is important. So this time they asked the new scheme, SMILE. So many schemes have been restructured. So mainly I will suggest you to study the restructured, and if any flagship scheme is there, you have to study those schemes. And I have given a list in our Telegram channel, a list of important schemes. So you can refer that PDF and stick to those schemes. is a little bit lengthy session, but believe me, it will benefit if anyone is watching it carefully. If anyone is watching it carefully, it will benefit, because no one will tell you in detail what to study from each topic. Social movement, they have not asked in question from social movement in last 2-3 years, but if any some historical movements, some social movement, popular movements you can study, like this year farmer movement, last year farmer movement against the farmer bill. So they can ask the question on descriptive if they will ask, so that farmer bill related descriptive question they can ask in the social movement. Other is one movement was there related to the RTI Act. They have asked in 2019 I think they asked a question on RTI movement related. One was there Kudankulam nuclear power plant, that was asked in 2017 or 18. This was simple question, so you can study the some popular movement. Basic of parliament structure and Indian constitution. This topic is very vast, but I will suggest you, if it will be better to leave this topic, because you have to study a lot of things. If you have studies, then I will suggest you study basic things only. What is these various different parliamentary committees, those are important. Different committee of estimates, committee of public enterprises, I think there are different committees. So I will give I have given I think to our subscriber, there are different committees in our parliament. So some important committees are there, 3 or 4, those are important. And the basic of parliament structure, what is Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, president, vice president, prime minister, governor, how their appointment, chief justice of India, how their appointment, what is the eligibility criteria. So basic things you can study if you want to study, but it is a vast topic, so I will suggest if you want to leave, that will be better. Hardly 1 or 2 questions you will find in the objective part, and if in descriptive they will ask, then descriptive there will be option always, because you have to cover 4 questions out of 6 questions, so you have options, so there you can attempt other questions. So I will suggest you don't waste time on such topics. Human development, what is HDI, and these are the topic of descriptive, so you can refer the various schemes related to the human development, and you can prepare a topic, a question on this also. Next is social sector India, health and education, very important. Schemes of Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, some specifically flagship schemes are important. Reports are important, specifically NFHS 5, National Family Health Survey 5 data is very important. This year in NABARD they asked, in RBI they can ask next year. SRS bulletin, latest data of IMR, maternal mortality rate, MMR related figures, these are very important. NFHS 5, SRS bulletin, sample registration survey, IMR data, MMR data, these are the very important. National Health Policy 2017, that is very important. National Health Policy 2017, very important. And schemes of this ministry are very important. We seen in the NABARD paper, they ask the schemes directly. Earlier also they have asked the question from the Ministry of Health schemes, Ministry of Education they have asked. I think this year they asked the question on scheme from the Ministry of Education. And National Education Policy, again very important for the descriptive part as well. So these are the important ministries, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, including National Education Policy. They can ask the question on in this descriptive part from the National Education Policy. Previously they have asked the question on School Education Quality Index, Healthy State Progressive in India. There is a report of AISHE, All India Survey on Higher Education, Annual Status Education Report, ASCR, UDISC, National Achievement Survey, National Institutional Ranking Framework, So these are the important reports in National Family Health Survey, Sample Registration Survey. These are the important report for the health. These I have told you, and these were the question asked from the schemes previously. I have already told you. And in the current affairs section, I will suggest you to focus 4 to 6 months maximum. Don't go beyond. Some students will usually ask that they should study 1 year, and some selected candidates also recommended for 1 year, but I never recommend to any students for 1 year, because it is not useful. They have never asked from the 1 year. Sometimes they have asked some question from the old current affair, but that doesn't mean that you have to study 1 year, because suppose this year they asked the human capital index, they asked on their report from the old current affairs, never they asked the current means general current affair question from the previous month current affairs. They have not asked, only specific reports. If any important thing is there, any amendment is there in, suppose labor codes are there, so labor code are 2-3 years back current affair, but it is a major change in our labor codes, so that is becomes important. So such things become important. Suppose SDG, Sustainable Development Goal Index, is by Niti Aayog. It is 1 year old, but it is important because this is an important report by Niti Aayog. So it does not mean that you have to study the 1 year current affair. Current affair you have to focus on the 4 to 6 months. All those who are working aspirant, don't go for 6 months. Stick to the maximum 4 months. That is enough for the phase 2. 4 to 5 months. And those who are studying their self, means completely preparing, then I will suggest to up to 6 months for phase 2 specifically. For phase 1, that is 3 to 4 months. Don't go beyond that. For phase 2 only 4 to 6 months for working aspirant. Even those who are completely preparing, means full-time preparation, doing full-time preparation. So I will suggest you don't go beyond 6 months at any cost. It will at the end you will lose. It will not get. You will not get benefit if you are going beyond 6 months. There are memory based questions available in Google, our platform crackgradeb.com. You will find the previous year question. You can search Google, you can do the questions analysis, Google it, then see that which month current affair it was and when the exam was held. You can check all the 5 years. They have not asked beyond 4 to 6, maximum question 4 to, not even 6 months. Maximum question means more than 90% question you will find in beyond the 4 months, means within 4 months. Only some questions like reports I have referred. So reports we are providing in our content. Old reports we will also provide. We will give a list from in our portal. These reports are important and you have to prepare. So don't go beyond the 4 or to 6 months. I will suggest. Even if you will cover 4 months very carefully, then you can score good marks. Maximum 4 to 6 months I have recommended. Don't go beyond that any cost. If you want to score good marks in ESI, because you have to cram a lot of data in the schemes. Every schemes contains a lot of data. Every ministry, 8-9 ministry you are going to learn. There will be around 15 to 20 to 30 reports. At least during the exam, 20 to 30 major reports will be there. You have to cram the data. You have to cram the data of 4-month current affair of PIB specifically. So if you will go for more current affairs, then you will not be able to retain. You will attempt the question. There will be probability that you will attempt the question wrong. And for ESI specifically, major questions they are asking from the PIB. So our students, those who are our subscriber, we are providing PIB in our course. So you don't have to refer yourself. some question to finance they can ask from the RBI circulars, that also we are providing to our students, our subscribers. You don't have to prepare yourself. Whatever we are giving you, stick to that. That will be more than enough. So focus more on PIB current affairs, then you can easily prepare PIB in this ESI current affair. PIB, schemes, RBI related news, or some topics I have told you like export import, GDP figures, any social issue related initiative is there. So such type of news is important. If you are studying any news, so specifically these news being covered in the PIB. So accordingly you can prepare. And now come to the report and scheme part. Yes, give me 1 minute, let me drink some water. Schemes which are very important for the exam, all new schemes which are in news in last 6 months, at least the new schemes which means suppose the last exam was held in June, so after June any new scheme is there, after June 22 any new scheme is there, that becomes important, much important, because there is probability, because we have seen the pattern of the RBI this year, and NABARD paper we also seen that they targeted the new scheme, new release. In RBI they asked smile scheme, that was in news, smile scheme they asked. In NABARD they asked about the Namaste scheme, that was recently launched. Both the schemes were recently launched, so they asked 4 to 5 questions on this, 10 marks on the smile scheme. So Ministry of Education schemes, some flagship schemes like Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, Samagra scheme, and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare schemes. I have given a list in our Telegram channel, and very soon I will share the updated list, so you can study only, stick to those schemes of these Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. In this Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Housing, Urban Affairs, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Labor and Employment schemes you have to cover. And specifically if you are following PIB, generally schemes are being repeatedly covered in our PIB modules, so you can refer those modules also. You have to refer, you cannot refer, means you have to refer those PIB modules, because these are important for the exam. And schemes wise, ministry wise schemes are there in course, so I will suggest you to study these schemes very carefully, because maximum questions you will find from the schemes, and these are scoring, and some mainly they used to ask flagship schemes. So I have again suppose you are studying Ministry of Housing, Urban Affairs, what is the flagship scheme? Amrut Mission, Awas Yojana, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Pradhan Mantri, Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY 3.0, that becomes very important. Ministry of Labor and Employment, which scheme is Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, PM Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana. So such things are flagship schemes. You have to read those schemes very carefully, and every point given on the in the guidelines of this scheme is very important. Specifically you can find on the there will be relevant website of these schemes, so when you can, if those who are preparing their self, when you can refer UPSC document, those who are preparing, those who don't have time to scroll, so I will suggest you can refer any UPSC document, that will be enough. Some things, some research you have to do only for the Ministry of Rural Development. You have to cover the old schemes also, and history you have to study, that you can Google it and you can find. But all those who are preparing themselves, then I will suggest you. Even in PIB website, if you will find, the many schemes will be there. So I will give a list. So otherwise you can prepare the notes of those schemes yourself from the UPSC website, PIB, or relevant ministry website. If you don't have time, then you can refer any UPSC website. Schemes related to ministry, minorities, SC, ST, tribals, these are important. So these ministry schemes you have to cover. Ministry of MSME, some schemes, don't study all the schemes, because there are number of schemes under Ministry of MSME, like PMEGP, and some credit guarantee related schemes are there. If any scheme in news related to the Ministry of MSME, that you have to study. Ministry of Finance, all schemes are very important. Every year they are asking. This year you have seen that sovereign gold bond scheme. Last year also they asked the question from the Ministry of Finance. Every year they are asking. Even in phase 1 you will find the scheme from the Ministry of Finance. So very important ministry it is there. Atal Pension Yojana, National Pension Scheme, sovereign bond scheme, gold monetization schemes. Every scheme is important. Pradhan Jan Dhan Yojana, Suraksha Bima Yojana, Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. These are very important schemes, and you have to read the guidelines carefully. Scheme related to the rural sector, again Ministry of Rural Development, Panchayati Raj, and Jal Shakti, Jal Jeevan Mission. That is very important. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Swachh Bharat Mission, SBM Swachh Bharat Mission, Jal Jeevan Mission. Ministry of Panchayati Raj related scheme, Ministry of Women and Child Development schemes, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Ministry of Fisheries and Husbandry and Dairying, Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. Only flagship schemes or schemes which are in news. Like last year they asked question from PMMSY, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. They can ask the question once they ask about the PM Fasal Bima Yojana. So flagship schemes you have to study. Don't study all the like Pradhan Mantri Kisan Mandhan Yojana, they have asked. So some flagship schemes are there, you have to study. Ministry of Food Processing, Operation Green, they have asked. Some other schemes are there like Startup India, One Nation One Ration Card, National Food Security Act. There are a number of that we have covered in that list. So stick to that list, and new schemes or schemes which are in news in last 4 months, that will be enough. You don't have to refer, means you don't have to study every ministry scheme. You don't have to study every scheme and every ministry scheme, that also not required. Only they are targeting flagship schemes. So these are the mainly reports. I have again earlier told you that GDP projection and report by IMF, World Bank, OECD, UNCTAD, NSO, RBI, Human Development Index, Multidimensional Poverty Index, Global Hunger Index, Human Capital Report, Gender Gap Report, Global Innovation Index, World Happiness Index, Ease of Doing Business Index, World Innovation Investment Report, State of World Population, State of World Children Report, if it is new, Financial Stability Report, Global Financial Stability Report, World Development Report, Global Wage Report, World Employment and Social Outlook, Global Environment Outlook, Global Competitiveness Report, World Trade Report, Trade and Development Report, SDG Report, SDG World Migration Report. One is Environmental Performance Index. So these are the major report from the world institution. If anything I have important report I have missed, you can tell. these are the reports of the Indian institutions. So these 30 to 30 more than 30-40 reports are there. But you have to study, you don't have any option, because they can ask the question. Then if any report is covered, asked in the exam, then 4 to 5 questions very easily, means 10 marks they will ask. We have seen the human capital report this year, they asked 5 questions were there. 2019 they asked question from the SDG index. At that time SDG index report was of December 2018 it was released. Exam was in December 2019, phase 2, 1 year old report they asked. AISHE, All India Survey on Education report they have asked in the NABARD. Annual status of education report in previously they have asked. UDISC they have asked. National Health Policy 2017 they have asked previously. SRS bulletin related question they have asked. NFHS 5 this year, the NABARD they have asked. National Health Survey 5, that is very important. Socio-economic caste census 2011, that is important. Financial stability report is important for RBI, they have asked in the descriptive. Trends and progress of banking in India, even in sometimes they ask the question from these reports in phase 1 also. RBI annual report is important. Swachh Sarvekshan index is important. Business reform action plan is important. Performance grading index, state startup ranking, national institutional ranking framework, India innovation index, leads logistics across different states, good governance, export preparedness index, state of inequality in India, national achievement survey. If any other report is in news that is released by an Indian institution, government institution specifically, or any report is there that is related to the India's social issue like women, child, water, health, that becomes also important. If it is in news in last 4 months, if it is being released by the non-governmental organization, mainly if it is being released by the governmental organization, then it is very important. Mostly Niti Aayog report is being targeted, or any report like export preparedness index, school education quality index, NFHS 5, these are the important reports. So anyway, no one will tell you in details like this. So I have told you these reports, and other reports you have to study like this. I have already told you, GDP by NSO, National Statistical Office, Consumer Price Index highlights by NSO, IIP, figures are also being released by NSO. Every month they used to release these CPI, IIP, so you have to cover from NSO website or PIB website, and those who are subscriber, we are providing to us you GDP by NSO. This latest report you have to cover. Index of 8 core industries, this is being released by Office of Economic Advisor. Index of 8 core industries, wholesale price index. These things can be asked. What are the component of WPI? You have to cover, read the static part also. That is also being released by the Office of Economic Advisor. FDI figures latest, these are also available on DPIIT website. And export import highlights, these are the other important data you have to cram. So all these things, if you will study carefully and prepare accordingly to these reports, schemes of these ministry, then you can easily score good marks. And static part I have told you. Yes, Hindu review you can study for phase 1, that is also good. I will take all the question from the starting. Sir, from where to study the government schemes? You can study yourself. These ministries I have referred. If you will go to the annual report of the ministry, then you can find the schemes there easily. Or in the ministry website, you will find the link of the schemes. Or better, you can. Some students used to refer. If anyone want to suggest, otherwise those who are our subscriber, they don't have to study. This Vision IS compilation is good. Nowadays they are covering everything that is being asked in the RBI also. So I have seen earlier there were some things which were not being covered by this institute, but latest I have seen. So they are covering most important facts. So if anyone who is preparing himself or herself, they don't have time, they can refer the document of this. And our subscriber, you don't have to refer anything, everything we are providing. I have done analysis of this because some students were asking, those who were preparing themselves from this document. So they asked me to check this document. Otherwise our students, you don't have to refer any other source, because our every scheme document is prepared from the official guidelines. We did not refer any other source, newspaper, PIB specifically. PIB sometimes we refer, but not for all the schemes. Generally we refer the original guidelines of the schemes. Yes, बजट नेक्स्ट ईयर का देखना होगा. ग्रुप हम बनाएंगे न्यू स्टूडेंट्स के लिए. स्कीम्स का मैं बताता हूँ कैसे पढ़ना है आपको. स्कीम्स का मैं बताता हूँ एक बार कैसे पढ़ना है. एक मिनट रुकिए, मैं स्कीम्स का थोड़ा सा डिटेल में बताता हूँ कि कैसे पढ़नी होती है स्कीम्स. एक बार एग्जाम्पल के लिए ले लेते हैं कि ये स्कीम है स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम. ठीक है, विजिबल है. तो इसमें टाइटल ऑफ द स्कीम है, उसके बाद ऑब्जेक्टिव दिया है स्कीम का. द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम इज टू फैसिलिटेट बैंक लोन बिटवीन 10 लाख एंड 1 करोड़ टू एटलीस्ट वन शेड्यूल कास्ट और शेड्यूल ट्राइब बोरोवर इन एटलीस्ट वन वोमेन बोरोवर पर बैंक ब्रांच फॉर सेटिंग अप ग्रीन फील्ड एंटरप्राइजेस. So you have to read the everything given in this. Like they can ask anything, they can change like 10 lakh, they can change it to 5 lakh, then you have to tell the which one is the correct. So they will not ask the question directly. Generally they will give the 4 to 5 statement in the question. One statement will be this and 3-4 more from this they will pick. Then they will change like 10 lakh, they will change to 5 lakh. Then you have to choose which one is correct. They may change to at least 1 scheduled to 5 scheduled or 2 scheduled or 1 woman borrower. They can change it to 1 man borrower or anything they can change. So you have to cram everything like 10 lakh, 1 crore, 1 schedule or scheduled tribe, 1 woman borrower. Then next line is there, the enterprise may be in sorry, this one greenfield enterprises, they can change it to brownfield enterprise. So you have to take care of such small things, because we have seen the schemes, they are asking like this. First thing, you should know the scheme was launched in which year and up to which year this scheme is valid, means suppose for how many years scheme will continue. The next line you can see that enterprise may be in manufacturing, service or agri-allied sector or trading sector. In case of non-individual enterprises, at least 51% of the shareholding and the controlling stake should be held by either an SC/ST or woman entrepreneur. So again, this line is very important. ST/ST woman entrepreneur above 18 years is eligibility criteria. Borrower should not be in default of any bank, financial institution. Again, important point. So everything is important related to the scheme guidelines. Such data is important, like composite loan between 10 lakh and up to 1 crore. This is already covered in the definition. Like rate of interest would be lowest applicable rate of the bank rate for that category, not to exceed base rate plus 3% plus tenor premium. And this year this scheme was asked in the RBI Grade B phase 2. I think 1 mark question was there. 5 statement was there. First was that 10 lakh to 1 crore. Second was there, I think one of this sorry, one of the statement was this also, the rate of interest would be not exceeding MCLR plus 3% plus tenor premium. One statement was this, the loan is repayable in 7 years with a maximum moratorium period of 18 months. So everything given in this website. Scheme envisages 15% margin money. So everything given important means in the guidelines of this scheme means important facts are given. So all these are important, because 5 options were there, 5 statements were there. Then options were like this, which of the following is not correct, or which of the following is correct. All are correct, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 2, 3, 5. Option you will see like this. So you have to study the schemes in depth. This year the SMILE scheme was asked. So question was asked about the budgetary outlay of the scheme. Means what, how much amount was allocated to the scheme. Scheme is related to the means eligibility related question, and some facts, important points like this in Stand Up India. Similarly in the SMILE scheme there were some points, important points of the scheme that were asked. Scheme validity was asked, up to which year the schemes are valid. So you have to like one more scheme, Pradhan Matsya Sampada Yojana. So directly objectives were asked, means objectives, the objectives of the schemes are there. They did not ask any data, only they mentioned the 5 statement about the objectives. One objective they changed and asked which of the following is not true. So you have to study very carefully. Even objective, if you are studying over the scheme, then you have to study carefully. I will not teach subject, but I will keep guiding you about every topic. Important MCQs I will be taking up. It is not necessary to read PIB if you have subscribed any course or any. There are 2 courses. One is for ESI FM, one is for ESI FM plus English. So cost of ESI FM is 2499, ESI FM plus English descriptive is 3499. Reports I have mentioned, these reports, special focus you have to go give on the reports which are in news in last 4 months. But the list of the reports I have given, I will suggest you to study these reports because sometimes they have asked from the old reports as well. Flagship reports are these I have given in the list. So Indian institutions report, SDG index you have to cover whenever it has been released, and other reports like NFHS 5, National Family Health Survey 5, National Health Policy, one is SRS Bulletin, Sample Registration Survey Bulletin, Socio-economic caste census. These you have to focus. Other reports last 4-5 months which are in news, even in 6 months, that you have to cover. And Niti Aayog reports, these are important. Specific, most probably they will ask the latest report from Niti Aayog, but SDG index, that is important. Yes, as a beginner, if you have some basic idea about quant reasoning, then you can crack this exam. Time is enough. Yes, all the live lectures will be uploaded in the app also. Yes, I will share the PDF of this session in the Telegram. Static portion के notes, 60% of the static portion is downloadable from our course. Complete we do not provide. Yes, management and finance का भी I will take session. Dharmendra Singh, if you are old student, drop an email. We will take care about the discount if you are an old student. लाइव क्लासेस बनी, लाइव क्लासेस स्टार्ट हो चुकी हैं यूट्यूब में. वी आर ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड द लाइव क्लासेस इन यूट्यूब. इफ यू विल सी दैट वी आर कवरिंग सेबी लाइव क्लासेस फॉर कॉमर्स एंड अकाउंटेंसी, कॉस्टिंग, फिनांस क्लासेस वी आर कवरिंग ESI classes. Quant class most probably from next week will start. Priyans, the 2 numbers are given on our website. So Sunday is week off, means holiday for us. So you can tomorrow after 9 AM you can contact on the number given on the website. This person with RBI Grade B, sir, provided around 170 government schemes. We have given a list of important schemes. This year we will reduce again that list, means number of schemes we will reduce. So stick to those schemes, that will be enough. Important schemes we have given separately. In objective part, negative marking is there. We will make the video, orientation video, who is taking this, who will cover, be teaching. Dhaval Pandey, yeah, you can rely completely on our content. Whatever we providing, it is more than enough. Yes, Rahul Verma, if you have some basics, or you are going to start from today, still you have November, 10 days of November, December complete, January, February, March. So 4 months are more than enough. George, you will get reply soon. Parne, if you are preparing for IBPS and SBI exam, so phase 1 will be prepared from that, and also you will be studying the current affair. So parallelly I will suggest you give some time to the ESI and finance preparation, because these subjects will help in the GA of these exams, also SBI and IBPS. So I will suggest you to allocate some time for the preparation of ESI and FM. At least in the weekend, suppose you are preparing for 7 days, at least 2 days you can give to this. Priyansh, yesterday our office was closed around 1 p.m. Half day we closed yesterday, so it may not our this calling team means our customer executive were not available since yesterday. After 1 p.m. they were not available. So tomorrow you will get call back. Do not worry. You will definitely get call back after 9 a.m. in the morning. Srishti, you can take course from our website crackgrade.com, and from new app will be available by today night or tomorrow, because we have uploaded the app on the Play Store. Once they will approve, the new version of the app will be available for all our subscribers, and also the purchase option we have implemented in the new app. So from there you can purchase. Otherwise you can purchase from website till the time. Also the platform of the website will be upgraded by maximum by tomorrow morning. So any issue if you will face in the new platform, some students may face the login issue or the course in their account, so they may contact us on our helpline numbers. If any other question you have, you can comment. Otherwise I have told you in the details everything how to study the ESI portion. Yes, Priyansh, you can completely rely. We are providing since 2018. So every year we have seen that maximum coverage of the question. Sometimes we can find some questions that is not possible to cover everything, because we do not provide the bulky material. That is the main point. Suppose we are providing every news which is there, then it will be difficult for you also to study, because you have to cram a lot of data. If we start providing every scheme, that is also difficult. So we try to provide the maximum possible things which are important for exam. So our content is the most specific content. That's the reason why the most of the aspirants are subscribing the content. Yes, descriptive, even direct questions were there. If you will speak to our subscribers, those who were last year subscriber, even you have seen the interview session also, they have told even in ESI and finance there were many questions, means from this descriptive part there were direct question in the final paper, which we have covered in our content. We have provided this separate content for descriptive part. Only the English descriptive is the difference. In 3500 you will find the English descriptive, including test series of the English descriptive. In 2500 English descriptive test series will not be there. So thank you for students. Please share and subscribe our channel, and share with your friends or in groups those who are preparing for RBI grade. We will keep guiding you in the best possible way. We will help you in cracking RBI grade B exam. So please subscribe and prepare accordingly. I had told you again that don't go for the 1 year current affair. 4 to 6 months is enough. 4 for working aspirant, 6 if anyone is completely focused on this preparation, is not, he or she is not working. So I will suggest you follow this video for your preparation, and I will save the PDF of this video. Again we'll come up with finance and management preparation video. Thank you.